Much love to all of AFA for having me here, and to many friends that I've seen in and around the hallways and out on the street as well in Dallas. What a pleasure to be here. I'm going to talk about the challenge, race, history, and the urgency of now. It's based on my book, The Campus Color Line, College Presidents and the Struggle for Black Freedom. And specifically, when you think about this history, I do want to bring your attention also to the image that's on the cover of the book, for those of you that haven't had a chance to see it. Because when we think about the racial line, the racial divisions, I also want to bring your attention to the actual racial violence that has happened throughout history on college and university campuses, and its connection to the many forms of violence that we continue to see in higher education. So look at this image here. You'll see the black students on the right. And a distinctive separation between them, you'll see some white individuals as well. But the individual closest to us in the picture, look down, if you didn't notice, to his right hand, a hammer. I actually came across this image in the archives at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa when I was studying the papers of Frank Rose, the president at that university in the 1960s. Here's some of the images that capture the context around the work that I was doing. Some of you may remember this from the University of Missouri, 2015. What we see here are black students on the football team fielding media questions, flanked by their peers. That week in November 2015, those students had threatened to boycott the upcoming game against Brigham Young University because of academic leaders, the president and university-wide chancellor, their lack of response to a series of racial incidents on that campus, specifically incidents targeting black students at the University of Missouri. If they had boycotted that week, it would have cost the university $1 million in breaking its contract fee for playing that game. How about this image here? Some of you may remember this, or at least if you haven't seen the image, you can pull it together from context clues. There are tiki torches in the background. University of Virginia, Charlottesville, August 2017. You see students here protesting as white nationalists march around campus on a Friday night, August 2017. Let's come more recent. Let's actually look right here in the state of Texas, just last summer. Here you see students at the University of Texas, Austin, locked arm in arm, walking through the streets of Austin after we saw international protests in response to so many killings, particularly the killing of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and others. And at this point, we saw university administrators, Division of Student Affairs statements, deans of students and others issue statements condemning racial violence within the United States. Some of the largest protests in terms of quantity that we've seen in U.S. history. But even, let's not go back so far, let's go back to earlier this year, if you will, 2021, anti-Asian hate on campus and abroad. This is how we build coalitions, and Martin Jenkins understood this in the 1930s. Now let me tell you a little bit more specific to bring this closer to home, how Martin Jenkins was also working. He's also a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. And so throughout the 1940s and 1950s, he's a consistent speaker at that fraternity's national meetings. And they're speaking about issues of civil rights. You see here he's featured in 1951 in Indianapolis. He's the keynote speaker for that fraternity's formal banquet. And so you see this through the black media to where it isn't just a matter of coming together around fellowship as a fraternity, but he's also built out a network to where he's challenging his own fraternity brothers around what their role is in building out ultimately building up the civil rights movement. We also have the power to look at the past, take these historical lessons from the past, and that should leave us hopeful because that tells us the power of decisions, which means that we also have an opportunity to take these lessons and apply them to our understanding and our contemporary decision making. Because every day we come to work, what we're doing is building a legacy. We're legacy building. And we want to make sure that the work we're doing is also meaningful and productive to where when we leave our respective campus, when a historian comes along 40, 50 years after us, they can see us as a hero, as a champion for racial equity. When you talk about mission statements and vision statements and what your values are, and then when you look at how campus actually functions, organizations function as a reflection of their values. That's just fact. Take academia out of it. Look at any big corporation. Corporations function as a reflection of their values. And unfortunately, too many of our colleges and universities and too many of our fraternities and sororities are actually living out values that are for the worse, not the better. And that's what's critically important for us now, and that's really what the challenge is right now. And I hope over the next few days you all will accept that challenge to think deeper about race, history, and the urgency of now. Thank you.